welcome to another episode of The Diplomat, brought to you by diplomacybriefing.com, and our side series looking at the journey of the Nexus Season 7 finalists to the final. I'm Wardy, and I'm joined by Mr. Eric Grinnell. How you doing?
Hey, fellas, girls, people.
So, if we were doing this in order, we'd be looking at semi-final D and Jordan. But he called us out on Discord, so he's going to have to wait.
Yeah, I took Jordan's comments on Discord as being a request to go last, and I'm more than happy to oblige him.
We don't take orders, Mr. Connors. So we are having a look at the journey of Mr. Matt Krill to the final and semi-final E. But first, of course, he had to get there. And Matt Krill is an avid player of virtual, of face-to-face, and of press diplomacy. But it is actually in Speedboat that he is noted in the Nexus Hall of Fame. Game 15 was back and forth for Krill's Russia as he expanded to 9 centers in the mid-game, but was pushed back to just 2 dots where he survived on the line defending against an English solo push. Game 24 was ultimately more successful for Krill as his Austria initially joined an AIR before turning against Russia. John Anderson subbed in and continued the Italian alliance with Austria, and Krill topped the board on 11 centers.
So we have a long history here of Matt Krill getting the better of John Anderson then, huh?
So that put him into semi-final E. I'm trying to remember what E what stock was representing E. Do you remember? It's gone out of my head.
I don't know. Emirati Air?
But here we go. In this game, he was playing as Germany, and he was joined by Babo Natale in Austria, Dave Roberts, season 6 finalist in England, 2-time champion Power, who since this game we have very sadly lost. So we will try and be kind to his play as best we can in this game. Super Worty in.
Did you say that for my benefit?
maybe. I'm always nice. Keep Vogel in Russia, and BAM 47 in Turkey. Okay,
this is a very good board of players.
It is, isn't it? I think
the only one that I don't recognize off the top of my head is Keep Vogel. That's the only one that I don't recognize. And he actually makes a pretty good showing of himself in this game, considering what he faced.
Yeah, it's a board of sharks. So what jumps out here? First of all, there's a quite an anti French opening by England, right?
I mean there's a lot of parallels between the first 2 years of this game and our finals game, actually.
Okay.
Thing that really jumped out at me here is the very bizarre Italian-Austrian opening. I think they had to build some trust. Babo held in Trieste. Didn't do a bounce, didn't do anything. And Super Wordy moved to Tuscany. And of all the moves that make no sense to me, Venice to Tuscany is near the top of the list. The only thing that's worse is Venice to Rome. The only reason I can think of for Super Wordy to go to Tuscany is people who don't know who Super Wordy is. He is a very good player, brilliant player. He's from Sardinia, so maybe he was trying to go home. Can't think of anything else. You got the very, very strong anti-French Open by England. Krill, opens pretty conventionally. You do the Denmark keel slide. It looks like he and Poa had a planned bounce in Burgundy, which is the beginning of a game-long trend of cooperation between Germany and France on this board. So
it means that no one is adjacent to Belgium but England.
England is adjacent to Belgium, and I'm sure he's going to take it. He's going to take Belgium with the army and Norway with the fleet, leave North Sea vacant. And time has taught me that when you take those two centers that way, you lose them both. So let's see how. Let's jump to follow one, even though we already know what follow one is. Ankh Khan. Let's see what else. So Ankh Khan, building fleet Smyrna. Did not expect Austria to support Ionian to Greece. I guess that was forecast a little bit by Babbo holding in Trieste. So it kind of makes sense in that regard. But other than that, England does the Norway-Belgium thing, like I said. It's not going to end well for them. It's going to be tragic.
Germany chooses not to bounce Sweden.
Germany chooses not to bounce Sweden, which puts Russia in a beautiful, beautiful position. He's in Rum with the army, in Black Sea with a fleet. He's in Sweden and getting two builds. The only way his position could possibly be any better is if he had somehow finagled his way into Galicia. So at this point in the game, I'm expecting good things for Germany and for Russia. Because, like I said, England just took Norway and Belgium. And when you do that, you usually lose both. And a lot of times you'll even lose them both in 1902. So let's see what happens.
Before we do, I just want to get your opinion on this French defense here. I don't see it often, but I think I quite like this in this circumstance, Marat and Gascony bouncing in Brest.
France is a corner power, and if you have a solid ally in either Germany or England, you can get by with one build in 1901 easily, because you have a build in your pocket.
You can always go back and get
very, very smart defense. Very, very smart. So
you don't have to worry about an unwanted support so much, because that means that England's giving up on either Norway or Belgium, right?
He'd be giving up on Belgium. And to give up on Belgium and not get a second build and have North Sea vacant, that's a non-start. You can't do it. So yeah, that is a guarantee. And it's even more than that. It's even more than that, because now you're going to build Fleet Brest. Now you're going to have two on the English Channel. All right. So you know, when England opens like this to England and Wales, and then you got a second fleet in Brest, and North Sea is vacant, you start writing love letters to Germany, because England has to build Fleet Liverpool now. Has to. Because if he doesn't, boom, you go to Mayo. I mean, worst case scenario, you go to Mayo and Nao and convoy into Liverpool, right? So England either has to fall back and defend Liverpool or has to build Fleet Liverpool. Well, if he's building Fleet Liverpool, now Fleet London's got to support England, got to support English Channel, or you're going to lose it. So, you know, if I'm France here, I'm writing Germany, offering them the world, telling them to go take Edinburgh.
Then Germany moving Munich to Ruhr, coupled with not bouncing Sweden, suggests that Germany is very much looking at France as his partner, right?
I don't know if he's looking at France as a partner. He's definitely looking at England as lunch.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a look. We're expecting what, double fleet from England? Yes. Liverpool and London. Fleet.
Yeah, no choice. Germany built exactly as I'd expect. France built exactly
standard from Germany. Standard from Germany. Russia gives himself some flexibility with the army in St. Petersburg. not committing with the fleet on either coast.
So, yeah, I think we're going to see here. I'm saying right now the exact same thing I said in Winter 01 in the finals game. Ed may have been paying very close attention to this game. I think this is where he got the idea of what he did to Jordan, because Denmark is going right to North Sea and is taking Edinburgh right now.
Italian fleet in Greece in Winter 01. That's not that common.
No, that's not common. That's not common at all. I think that I mean, it makes sense in as much as, remember, Austria was in Trieste at the end of fall. So he had no way to take Serbia and Greece. So he might as well give it to Italy. I think Italy to take Greece, but then send Tuscany back at Venice. I'd be a little annoyed at that if I was Austria. I'm not sure that that's what Bobo wanted to see. I don't know.
Well, I think I read that as defensive from Italy, because then if he doesn't get Greece and doesn't get a build, and Austria is now in Tyrolia and Trieste, you want to make sure that you're in a defensive position. I don't know.
Fair.
That's why I say it.
Fair. You'd be in an equally defensive position if you were in Apulia and Tuscany.
But, yeah, just like a bouncing.
Yeah, let's go to spring. North Sea.
Hey, North Sea and Helgoland Bight. Or
yes, Bight. Yeah. See, go back. Oh,
okay.
When England is in this situation, Germany is telling, oh, yeah, I'm going to build a second fleet. I'm going to go take Sweden. Okay. As England, you got to say, well, that fleet better be in Berlin or I'm bailing out of English Channel. If you build in Kiel, I'm bailing out of English Channel immediately. And England apparently didn't make that demand on Germany, or if he did, Krill called him on his bluff. But letting Germany build it fleet Kiel and then not falling back English Channel to North Sea is a fatal mistake. It's really, really bad. So, you might even see what's coming. And bounce in North Sea so the English Channel gets disbanded so that you can then build an army and make that English Army Belgium at France's disposal. That fleet Kiel should have been an alarm bell for England. Let's go forward.
There we go. So Belgium, he keeps English Channel in place, but loses Belgium. Yeah, I mean, this is
England clearly thought he was in a big EG. He clearly thought he was in a big EG.
Yeah, but there's no like support order from Norway to Sweden or something, which I'd expect if that was.
Yeah, but Germany's telling him here, I'm forcing Baltic.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't do the Denmark to Sweden fleet Kiel/Berlin to Baltic unless the fleet is in Bothnia. If the fleet is already in Sweden, you got to do support on Baltic. So it just kind of left Norway hanging out there in the wind. Some questions.
But Russia doesn't.
Dave Robb's a very good player. Norway. Dave Robb's a very, very good player, but in these first 2 game years here, I've seen some very questionable moves. I don't know. I'm sure it was all part of the diplomacy. So I'd invite him to come on and explain it sometime. So,
Russia doesn't try and capitalize on this. No attempt to take Norway. No attempt to cut Norway either.
It's very unusual. It's very odd. Very, very odd. I think something equally odd here is Poa does a very odd thing. He moves Spain to Gascony. It ends up being the right move because England is in Picardy and English and Irish. So Irish is going to be able to cut Mayo. England theoretically would have been able to force Brest if not for what we've got going on with Germany. But by moving Spain to Gascony, he said, I don't need Portugal this year. So I'm very curious to see how he plays that in the fall.
Probably know Venice to Piedmont as well.
Well, but he's clearly by this point aligned with Germany, so he'll cover Marseille from Burgundy, and Gascony will do something else.
This is already a beautiful position for Germany to be in.
He's got one guy who's definitely his friend, another guy who's hoping he's his friend in Russia, and England's just helpless. The rest of the board, Italy, by moving to Piedmont and moving down to Ionian and not doing anything with Greece, really. Bobo's not getting a lot for his investment of letting Italy have Greece. I don't think he's getting a lot out of this deal at all.
Albania hold is curious.
Now you got Turkey forcing Aegean so that the army now comes into Khan. So now Aegean's going to support Smyrna to east. This leaves Austria basically fighting Russia, Turkey alone. So you got Austria forcing Galicia, so that's a little bit better. But now you got Russia with a fleet black to support and armies in Ukraine, Warsaw, and Rom. Russia still got a very nice position here.
Norway is quite possibly there for the taking if he wants it.
Norway is definitely there for the taking if he wants it. Definitely, because North Sea is going straight for Edinburgh.
Which it does. Norway departs. Russia self-bounces in Norway. So, yeah, just trying to keep England strong enough to sort of slow down this FG. Picardy.
Very, 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 very kind and friendly of Russia. And it was also a mistake.
What makes you say that?
Look at the good use Russia could have put a build to at this point in this game. He could have been a check on Germany. He could have taken Norway with the army and then build a fleet of North Coast and then sent Norway to Sweden, Sweden to Baltic, St. Pete to Norway. Warsaw and Galicia are both in possession to move up to Prussia, Silesia. He could have accomplished a lot here. He also might have wanted to do an army in Sev, given Turkey's moves of Khan to Ankh, Smyrna to Khan. That's not good. That's not good. I think that Russia's niceness to England here was exceedingly and excessively kind. England was losing Edinburgh anyway. England's already wrecked. All not taking Norway does is give Germany more of a chance to get a bigger piece of the pie. If I'm on this board and I'm looking at this map and I'm Russia, I'm taking Norway and I'm reaching out to France and I'm telling France, we got to do something about Germany right now.
Piedmont to Tyrolia. Not sure I'd be overly happy about that if I was Austria. But Austria's getting a rebuild.
Well, it's not a rebuild. He's just retreating to Vienna. It's going to Vienna.
He takes it off the board.
He does. Well, he's going to rebuild. He might rebuild it in Trieste because of the move to Tyrolia. Let's move it forward and see.
Rebuild it in Vienna. Right. Okay. Two Irish and London pulled by England, keeps English Channel. Germany puts down 2 fleets. So going into 1903, 7-center Germany, topping the board, has 4 fleets.
You're missing the single most important thing on this map. I'm going to sit here and wait until you get it.
Oh well, you're going to look at Fleet Rome, right?
No. I need a Jeopardy theme in the background.
We didn't get that over here. What? I don't know what you're looking at.
Poa waived a build.
That means he wants to build a fleet.
That means A, he wants to build a fleet. That means B, he has an unnaturally friendly. See, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be friendly because it's Poa. All right. This is an unnaturally friendly gesture. And that's the nicest possible way I can put that. Very questionable, very dubious. I disagree with this decision soundly. The only reason it could possibly make any sense at all is look at Germany's builds. He's built 2 fleets, so he's got 3 fleets. Maybe Poa knew what was coming, and he knew that if he didn't want the whole board to get handed to Germany, he needed another fleet, and he didn't see a build coming in his future. Yeah. But to not build Army Paris when Germany is sitting in Belgium and Ruhr and Munich with armies.
Yeah, but Munich's got to go to Silesia, right?
Hasn't attacked Russia yet.
Well, I mean,
Russia hasn't attacked him yet.
Fleet Kiel and Fleet Berlin are for Russia, surely, because they're not going to go around to France.
And Ruhr's got to cover Holland. If England would cooperate with Belgium a little bit here, or if France would cooperate with England here, Belgium and Holland. That you got a guessing game. Let's go ahead and move forward, see how it goes. Matt Krill's in a little bit of jeopardy here, but he solves it all diplomatically. It all just goes away.
Oh, well, England and France have worked something out here by the looks of it. I suppose that Fleet Rome pulls France's attention slightly.
Yeah, that was a mistake by Super Wordy. He especially if it was just to go to Tyrrhenian Sea, he should have built in Naples for sure. The only reason to build in Rome is if you plan to go to Tuscany. So, or if you're being
really friendly towards Turkey, but that doesn't look like it's the case either.
But yeah, but France and Germany make very, very friendly moves here. Bouncing in Burgundy, that's very friendly, very friendly.
But yeah, this is a move against.
Now here's an interesting thing. We were talking about how nice that Russia was being to England here. This is fascinating. England takes Edinburgh back with the army, which I wouldn't have done that way. I think at this point you realize that I'm losing Norway. I'm on defensive. My sole role in this game is to hold out as long as I can to make sure that Germany doesn't get a bigger benefit from stabbing me than he otherwise could. North is not uncuttable support. Denmark to North could have cut that support, left him in Edinburgh. Then you're in a position where Helgoland could support Eddie back into North, and now you got a guessing game on Eddie. I'm very surprised that England took it upon himself to take Edinburgh with the army. And that does an interesting thing here. Russia doesn't take Norway. He said St. Pete to Finland. Now, Germany can't force Sweden. Germany can't force Sweden. North can cover Norway. Germany is not in a position to take Edinburgh back. So England is in a perfect position here. He's getting his build back. He's getting his build back. Absolutely. There's no question that England's getting his build back. Let's go ahead and roll it forward.
Oh, here come the French fleets back north. Germany takes north.
Russia's moves here make no sense. Russia's moves here make absolutely no sense. None at all. This doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make.
Was this a deal between Germany and Russia?
Doesn't really matter.
Because look at Silesia. Silesia goes back. Warsaw doesn't try and defend Warsaw. It tries to move out.
Yeah, whether it was a deal or not, it wasn't an arm's length deal. Russia was kind of under the gun.
Yeah, because look, like Sweden, Denmark, North Norwegian. It's 4-on-2.
Yeah. Now, if you go back to spring, go back to fall 02. Turkey does something here that really, really hurts his momentum. You see, he went Khan to Ankh, smear to Khan.
Yeah.
He was obviously worried about Russia taking a flyer at him. Okay. He wasn't that worried, though, because Aegean didn't support Bulgaria. Of course, Bulgaria is in motion. All right. But He was worried about that fleet in black. You know, you got to pick your poison. All right, because look what happens moving forward. Okay, he went Khan to Egg, smear to Khan. He built Khan, forced Aegean. He all his movement is circular and accomplishes nothing. And now he's in Khan, moving back to Smyrna. So now he's not worried about Russia going to Khan. It made
But he's getting convoyed.
It made the RT very, very ineffective. Made the RT very, very ineffective. It kept Austria in the game. And Austria that never got Greece kept them in the game, kept them going as a viable force. Okay? And let's move forward. Now Turkey's not worried about Russia at all. Now he's exposing Egg. You know, Russia could have convoyed Rum to Egg. It would have cost him Rome, but you know, he could have moved Warsaw to Ukraine, Gaul to Rum, bounced out, Rum to Egg, even. But he'd have been taking Rum right back. So Turkey started out worried about Russia, now isn't worried about Russia, but he's really slowed his progress out the gate. Some people think that playing Turkey slow like that is the way to win. I'm really good at coming out really strong early as Russia or Turkey and then getting beat. So maybe I need to be taking notes, not making criticisms. But
you can afford to take your time in Turkey, although not necessarily in a timed game.
So
let's have a look at in Fallout 3.
Well, France, who had moved to West Med and positioned himself against Italy, now takes those fleets and sends them north. Keep in mind, he's got to build in his pocket. England's
about to build Army Liverpool, presumably.
I would think so. And by the way, we missed that really brilliant convoy of Belgium to Liverpool in fall 1902. Go back and show that.
Yeah, I think I commented it at the time. I think the Picardy going home.
That's a very, very good defensive move. It almost makes up for not reacting when Germany built in Fleet Kiel. Almost, but not quite. All right, go forward.
Let's see what builds we see from, particularly it's only the West, isn't it? Fleet Brest, Fleet Liverpool.
Fleet Liverpool.
Oh, Germany didn't have one because traded Edinburgh.
He traded Edinburgh for Sweden. He traded Edinburgh for Sweden.
So this is great for Germany. Those still fighting.
He's still got that reversed Maginot Line, Army Belgium, Army Ruhr, Army Munich. You know, his biggest worry in the world is probably Warsaw and Galicia.
Germany's got Norway, Edinburgh, and St. Petersburg all just waiting to be taken.
I think the most interesting piece on this board is Poe is all the way out in Tyrolia with his army, which would be kind of a threat to Germany. But Germany's got Belgium, Ruhr, Munich. France has only got one other army. It's in Picardy.
But Tyrolia's got to come back here to cover Piedmont, presumably.
It has to, because Venice and Turanian are going to go take Marseille and Spain shortly thereafter if he doesn't.
It's a nice place to be.
I tell you, that English build of Fleet Liverpool boggles my mind. Armies are for defense and fleets are for offense. And if you're thinking there's any offense left in your game, Dave Robb,
maybe it's trying to make a play to be useful to Germany. Maybe it's not. I'll support you into now. You drop down into. I'll support you into NAO. Support you into English Channel. Go after France. Leave me, and I'll.
All that is an invitation.
See if it's enough to get through the top 21.
All that is an invitation to take Edinburgh. Now Edinburgh has no support.
But England's choosing to punish France over punishing Germany.
Yeah, he could be playing for spite, you know. He could, yeah, it could be that. I mean,
he did open to Channel and Wales, so
But he can't send it anywhere because he's got a fleet sitting in Nail. It makes no sense. Let's go forward. Let's see.
Swaps around, but nothing lost at this stage because Norway is Germany's victim. But now Irish and English Channel, North Sea still there.
You're right about and look, Russia read my mind.
Ankara.
Russia read my mind.
Nice. I like that convoy. But now it's got a German problem. So
yeah, I would have done Warsaw to Silesia here. He obviously has worked something out with Austria. He trusts them enough that he knows that Romania is not under the gun.
Yeah, but then you don't need to be in Galicia, do you?
I would have done Warsaw to Silesia.
Yeah, still looking great for Matt Krill. England doesn't
Russia
cover
really
Edinburgh.
likes those self bounces there, doesn't he?
Who are we looking at? Oh, Russia, yeah, in the north.
All
right.
Okay, back to our theme of Poa making unnaturally friendly gestures to Germany. Look at the supply center count. It's 5-7. Germany is sitting in Norway, is going to keep it. He is going to 8. North Sea is uncuttable support. And yet France is supporting Germany into London. So France is still getting no builds. Germany is going to go from 7 to 9.
With France staying on 5.
We promised we were going to be nice. Poa is a very, very good alliance player, and he deserves a lot of respect for staying true to that alliance. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, one of two things pops into my head here. It feels like either he's thinking he's won this twice and maybe less of a drive, or like he doesn't need it, or it's a case of England and France just really, really, really could not get along, and this is the bigger priority, maybe.
The other story here is that Poa wasn't the biggest giveaway on this season. Look what Babo did.
Well, was that deliberate? That looks kind of like a stab. Otherwise, you'd expect Albania to get pulled. That looks like just a move by Superworthy here. You disagree?
Go back to spring 04. Yeah, Rome to Venice, Venice to Tyrolia. Russia just announced himself as anti-Turkish. Those moves cannot possibly be construed as being pro-Austrian. You've got to stay in Vienna and you've got to cover Trieste with a supported attack. He's in Albania. Move forward. He's in Albania. He could have done Vienna, supports Albania to Trieste, Albania to Trieste. Covered both of those dots without compromising any of his own strategic position at all. And instead,
I don't understand Vienna to Galicia, really. Well, maybe he's trying to defend, but surely Galicia's always going to cover Warsaw. No.
Obviously, Italy made promises about what he was going to do. Babo believed him, and he was wrong. But if you look at the moves here, his double cut on Rum is very, very smart. His double cut on Rum protects both Bulgaria and Budapest.
I failed to do that in a gunboat game recently, and I regretted it immediately.
But choosing to do that, all right, at the cost of not covering Trieste after Russia just convoyed into Ankara, not reading your board well.
Yeah, I mean, you could still cover it with Albania, and Venice doesn't need to move. Vienna doesn't need to move, but yeah.
He could have double cut Rum and covered Trieste. He just clearly thought he was still in an AI, and Italy had other plans.
There's clearly trust issues here between Austria and Russia.
I don't know if there was trust issues or opportunism. Russia clearly trusted Austria.
Yeah, I mean, Serbia had support into Bulgaria, which would have worked.
Maybe there was a little bit of trust issues because Black Sea supported rum. If Ankara had, if Ankara had supported Black Deccan, it wasn't going to make it anyway. So, yeah. So, yeah, that was fatal for Bobo. Fatal. Let's move forward.
Wales is pulled by England, double army from Germany, so that's just protecting the lead. Probably Berlin to Prussia is probably going to come. I think Italy's still got a shot here.
Based on what he just got away with last year, he's got a real strong shot, especially if Italy is now allied with Russia, which should be the case.
And Turkey just pulled Eastern Med.
So if it is right now, Italy, Russia versus Germany, France, you're looking at 13 versus 14. And England's dying and Turkey are dying, which should be what I would expect. Let's see what happens moving forward.
Belgium to Edinburgh.
Yeah, that's smart. That's
no south
smart.
bounce this time for in St. Petersburg. That is making sure he gets there to defend the line.
That support wasn't necessary. That support was necessary. Yes, it was. But
not to defend, but to make sure you get in. Yeah.
Russia's regretting his attack on Turkey. Looks like he misordered the convoy. Look at the orders. That's the only reason that move fails.
Black convoy Ankh to Bull.
Yeah. And I believe that's a genuine misorder. I see it all the time.
Yeah, there's no reason to not do it.
I say again?
There's no reason really to not.
No, I think that was a genuine misorder. And boy, they really could have used that. Although everyone's waking up to the need to do something about Germany, France.
Yeah, but then Austria and Italy are fighting. Italy bounces Germany out of Bohemia. So, had France not moved
that math that I just did of it's 13 versus 14 and Turkey's dying and England's dying. Well, that all just went out the window. Now it's 13 versus divided we fall. And if they don't do something about this Germany-France alliance, nothing's going to change the outcome of this game. Nothing at all. So, because Germany is in Edinburgh now, so Liverpool is going to fall. England is eliminated. He is absolutely done and dead. English Channel already moved to Mayo, so he's putting himself in position now to move on Italy, and he's got a build coming. He's going to build in Marseille, and he's in Piedmont. This is a brilliantly played GF. Everyone else on this board is playing checkers, and Poa and Matt Krill are playing chess.
Yeah, you see how England is prioritizing defending against France rather than covering Edinburgh.
He was going to lose both this year. If England and France cooperated, he was going to lose at least one this year and probably two anyway.
Should France still be cooperating with Germany?
He just moved English Channel to Mayo.
Yeah, but should he? Should he be looking at turning on Germany?
No.
Although he's got no one really doing
with Germany. He should be looking to play defense. Supply center count is 9 versus 5.
Yeah.
Going up to 10 versus 6. After that 6, France's next build is all the way down in Italy. And Germany's got Warsaw and St. Pete laying at his feet. France should have demanded a lot more equity out of Germany than he's getting in this game.
Not quite even. Is it? And in full,
you're a master of euphemism, sir.
He does get Liverpool now with help from Germany. I suppose if you're Germany, there's no reason not to give France, because he's not really.
Now, this is worth noting. We're in
challenging.
fall 1905. This support to Liverpool is the absolute first thing that France has gotten from Germany out of this entire game.
Yeah, and France has been slowed down by England and to an extent Italy in a way that Germany hasn't been from Russia.
Look at Austria. Look at Bobo saying, "Okay, we have to stop the leaders. I am willing to take a subsidiary role. Go fight France, and I'll get out of Trieste." Wow, wow, selfless
I guess
play.
similar situation with Russia and Turkey as well. Although Turkey doesn't need Ankara.
Turkey's going to build a fleet with Ankara, and Russia is going to disband Fleet Black.
Yep. Another army from Berlin. We say goodbye to England. Thank you, Dave, for playing. Where are we? We're at Germany 10, Italy 7, France 6, Russia 5, Turkey 4, Austria 2. And that is all she wrote, because they decide to call the game before spring 1906.
If you dominate a board diplomatically, you break the will of the other players. Krill obviously dominated this board diplomatically, broke the will of the other players. Super Wordy's position, especially given what he has, Austria just made himself Italy's vassal. He was sitting in Trieste and supported himself out. So you can consider Bobo's 2 units as Italian units. Super Wordy's at 9. I think a draw vote here is simply an admission of, hey, listen, if Germany and France are allied and we're not going to break them up, this game is over. And someone, I would assume, confronted France with that and said, dude, are you going to do anything to stop Germany? And France said no.
Yeah, I think some people thought France was going to veto, and he publicly said, I know people think it's me, it's not.
I believe it was Italy who was saying that.
I think Italy had more play.
I don't think Italy should have given up. Although the flip side here is France is in no position to fight against Germany. Norway could bop out to Norwegian. Sweden could move to Norway to cover against Fleet St. Pete, North Coast.
Got no armies. It would need a concerted effort.
So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 armies against POA's potentially 3. Yeah. France is in no position here to do anything against Germany. So, yeah, this game is over. So I think voting the draw was, given what this map is right now, this draw vote right now was the right thing to do. It should have never got like this. I'm going to make a prediction. This was the easiest game Matt Krill ever played in his life. He never even got to Warsaw. He's in Germany.
Didn't really have any tough battles here, did he?
Excuse me?
It didn't really have any tough battles here. It was he got the early lead, early position, and just
he walked into Edinburgh unopposed. It's the easiest game Matt Krill ever played in his life. Matt Krill, excellent game, sir. POA, you are sorely, sorely missed. The people on this board probably weren't happy with you. So just realize that we have nothing but love for you, regardless of what Super Wordy and D-Rob and Bam said about you during this game.
Right. Well, yeah, just a short game. This was either the first or second to call. Certainly, it was the shortest game in terms of gameplay years.
Easiest game of Matt Krill's life.
Excellent. So, well, thank you, Eric, for talking through this game with me. And we will see you all very soon. Thanks very much.